Chris Eubank Jr. has called out Gennady Golovkin. In an interview with Sky Sports, he said, "He is the number one name on my list right now. We were supposed to fight, and it has always irked me that the fight was stolen from me and given to Kell Brook at the last minute. In the back of my mind, it has always been there. I've always wanted to fight him. People put this guy's name so high, but I know I can beat him. I know that I have the tools and the style to take this guy out. My speed, my tenacity, I don't think he will be able to deal with it. This is the main fight. Canelo, everybody would love to fight him, but he's not going anywhere. He will be in the game a lot longer. Golovkin will have a couple more big fights, then bow out. I've been trying to get this fight for years. This is the fight that I want. Because of my style, I would stop him due to the pure amount of punches. Whether it's a cut or he gets tired, stopping him would definitely be on the cards." Okay, so those are the words of Chris Eubank Jr. Now, 4 years ago, when they were in negotiations to fight and negotiations broke down, the overwhelming majority of people were not only picking Golovkin to win, but picking Golovkin to absolutely destroy Chris Eubank Jr. in a very one-sided fight. That's what the majority of people were saying. But interestingly enough, at this juncture, a lot of people are actually saying that Eubank Jr.'s got a good chance now. In boxing, timing is everything. And I think people are looking at Golovkin's age. They're looking at the wear and tear, the tough fights he's been in, and of course his last fight against Derevyanchenko, where he had a lot of problems. And many neutral observers felt like he lost that fight. He was hurt several times against Derevyanchenko. Derevyanchenko's speed and work rate overwhelmed Golovkin at several points in that fight. And I think people look at Eubank Jr.'s style, because he's very much a fast fighter with a lot of work rate. He's strong. He can take a shot. And they think, you know what? With his youth, he might be able to get Golovkin at this point. So we do have to bear in mind, though, that Golovkin is still a much superior technical fighter to Chris Eubank Jr. I know Golovkin's defense has never been that great, but in terms of the way he sets his shots up, his range control, his jab, etc., he is far superior from a technical point of view to Chris Eubank Jr. However, Eubank Jr. does like pressure fighters. When people come at him, when people are slightly squared up, as Golovkin often is when he applies pressure, Eubank Jr. can get off tremendously fast hooks and uppercuts, and he puts his punches together very, very well in combinations. When you box Eubank Jr., when you keep it long, when you stick a jab on him, that's when he has a hell of a lot of problems. He's quite crude when he comes forward and he has to walk you down. But on the back foot, when you're walking him down, Eubank Jr. actually looks quite impressive, even at world level. So it all depends, in my mind, on how Golovkin approaches the fight. If Golovkin actually decides to box at long range against Eubank Jr., I think it could be a very, very tough night for Mr. Chris Eubank indeed. But if he comes forward and fights the typical Golovkin fight, then maybe Eubank Jr. does have a chance at this stage. How much did the Derevyanchenko fight take out of Golovkin? How much is the ring rust? I mean, Eubank Jr. is not exactly active himself, but when you're dealing with older fighters, ring rust tends to affect them more so than it does younger fighters. So maybe now is the time for Eubank Jr. to get that fight. I don't think he will get it. I don't see any incentive for Golovkin to fight Eubank Jr. at this juncture. They're obviously looking at the Canelo rubber match, the trilogy. So Eubank Jr. brings nothing to the table that I imagine Golovkin would want. He's currently is he actually still the IBO super middleweight champion, Eubank Jr.? I don't know. He dropped back down to middleweight for his last fight, and that ended in the second round with his opponent. God, his name escapes me. The Russian southpaw who got stopped by Andy Lee and had a very close fight with Charlo. Excuse me, his name escapes me. But yeah, he injured himself in the second round, and Eubank Jr. won that kind of like by default, basically, because it looked as though it was going to shape up to be a very tough fight for Eubank Jr. that fight. In fact, I was saying it was most people were saying that's a very dangerous fight for Eubank Jr. He was fortunate in that fight, let's be real. But Golovkin, I don't see him fighting Eubank Jr. I don't see any reason why he would want to at this point. Not like he's avoiding him, but what does Eubank Jr. bring to the table? So, but who knows, man? Boxing is a funny sport, and people do strange things when they can't get the fights they want. We all remember Amir Khan fighting Canelo. We all remember Kell Brook fighting Gennady Golovkin. So maybe Gennady Golovkin will do something weird and fight Eubank Jr. thinking it's going to be easy. Maybe it'll turn out to be easy. Maybe it will turn out to be tough. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. How would Chris Eubank Jr. do against Gennady Golovkin right now? How would he have done against Golovkin 4 years ago, back in 2016, when they were in negotiations to fight? Hasn't it or hasn't it changed in your mind in terms of the way the fight would play out? Maybe some of you think Eubank would have been destroyed back then and it'd still be destroyed now. Maybe some of you think that Eubank Jr. had a good chance back then and an even better chance now. So let me know what you think in the comment section below, and how realistic is this fight? All right, it's happening. I'm out.